Hi, I'm Marie. Welcome to Marie's Kitchen. I'm so glad you're back. Today we are making apple hand pies, and these are, first of all, completely adorable. They're also easy to make and so delicious with that warm cinnamon apple filling surrounded by the buttery flaky crust. If you love apple pie, you are going to love these hand pies. The other great thing about hand pies is that they're so easy to serve and share. Say you're having a potluck or maybe a buffet style celebration, you can set these hand pies in a basket or bowl and people can just take their pie whenever they're ready. Don't have to serve a huge, a big apple pie, which can get kind of messy. The other great thing about this recipe is that it's great for smaller occasions. Say you're having just 2 or 3 people, you can have this recipe with just 1 crust and 1 apple and make 3 pies. That way you don't have to go to a lot of trouble and effort to make a big pie for a small amount of people. So keep this in mind for that. All right, let's get started. So today we are actually using refrigerated crust for these apple hand pies. If you want to make a homemade crust, that is wonderful, and I've done that often. The only reason I'm not making a homemade crust is that the last 5 videos that I've shared here, I've made a homemade crust, and I have a feeling y'all might be a little tired of seeing it. So I thought I'd show you another option, and it's good to see how to work with a refrigerated store-bought crust as well. But if you like to make a homemade crust, hop over to my Easy Pie Crust tutorial. I walk you through step by step on how to make a homemade crust, and the rest of the process is exactly the same. So these are Trader Joe's crusts. If you have a Trader Joe's near you, I do like these. They're my favorite refrigerated store-bought crusts. They do have a good flavor and texture and actual pieces of butter in them. So as close to homemade as you can get. Now the important thing when you're using store-bought crust is to go ahead and set these out early. We're gonna let them thaw and warm up so then we can roll them out easier. So I'm letting this sit out while we make our filling. We do want to start with a filling because the filling has to be cooled before you put it in the hand pies. So this is a great make ahead item. If you wanted to make it a day ahead, you can make the filling before. You can also make it, a couple weeks in advance and pop it in the freezer and then thaw it when you're ready to use it. So if you're looking for a make ahead, keep this one in mind. So first up, we need 2 apples. I'm using Granny Smith. They're nice and tart and they've got great flavor and texture for apple pies, so they're kind of my go-to. If you wanted to mix it up, you could add another apple in, maybe a Braeburn, use 1 of each, and that is always nice for sort of adding more depth to the flavor and texture. But I just use Granny Smith. I'm just gonna peel these real quick. Now we'll chop them into some cubes, and I'll show you how I do that. Just do 2 slices on one side. Then we'll cut this into several slices this way. And then we'll cut them into cubes like this. Now we've got all our apple slices, we're gonna head over to the stove. We're gonna turn the heat to about medium and add 2 tablespoons of butter. Just let that melt for about a minute. We'll let it get a little brown and toasty. You don't wanna burn it, of course, but we'll kind of bring out some of that nutty flavor. Okay, that's nice and golden. Now we'll add our apples. Next is 1/4 cup white sugar and 2 tablespoons brown sugar. We'll also add about 1/4 teaspoon salt. We'll just give that a stir. And we'll just cook this over medium heat for about 5 minutes just to soften those apples. Now we'll add 1/2 teaspoon cinnamon and a pinch of nutmeg. And then 3 tablespoons water. Now we'll cook that for about 4 more minutes until it's kind of sticky and gooey and you have a really delicious apple pie filling. Okay, now this is done. You can see it's kind of nice and gooey in there and sticky. It looks great. And we do want to cook these pretty well because they're only going to cook in the crust for, say, 12 to 15 minutes. So you want to have your apples pretty nicely cooked. To let these cool, I'm going to move them to another bowl or plate and then kind of spread them out and put them in the refrigerator. Now it's time to roll out our crust. And we'll see what we have here. We'll see how thawed these are. The box always says to just roll it open. You're supposed to have a rolled crust, but that has never worked for me. So look what happens. You unroll it. I guess it's not thawed enough. You unroll it and it just breaks into a bunch of pieces. So we're just going to bring that together back into a ball and we'll roll it out like usual. To roll out the crust, we'll just put a little flour here on the counter. Bring our crust into a disc. Kind of flatten it out with my hands first. Now this, since we're not putting it into a pie plate, does not have to be in a neat circle. Sprinkle a little flour on top, a little on my rolling pin, and then we'll give this a roll. If you've watched my other videos, you know I always roll and then turn a quarter turn because it will prevent your pie crust from sticking to the counter, or if it is sticking, you'll know it real quick so you can fix it. One of the biggest problems I see at pie classes is the crust sticking to the counter. If that happens, you pretty much have to ball it up and start over. It's very hard to get a crust off the counter in one piece when it's really stuck on there. So go ahead and roll and then turn. And if you have any questions about pie crust, feel free to check out my other videos. There's so many on pie crust right now. And you can also email me, marie@mariesaba.com, or message me on Instagram. I'm at mariesaba. Or you can also comment here and ask any questions. I would love to help you. All right, this looks great. Now we'll cut out some circles, and to do that you don't need any special equipment. You can just use little things you find around your house. I think this is so cool. This is just a plastic container that I have. It measures about 4 inches wide. So if you want some smaller apple hand pies, you can use something like this. If you want bigger pies, then this is a 6-inch round. So just find something in your house. I know it's there. You can use a lid of a pot or a container or a glass, something with a nice thin edge though where you can cut these out. I think I'll do a few of each. We'll do a 6-inch pie here. These are pretty big. Do a 4-inch pie. Do a few of these. Do a big one over here. And then we will have to roll this out again with these scraps. We'll do one more time. All right, now it's time to put these together. We've got our filling cooled. We've got our pie crust cut out. We're just gonna quickly make a little egg wash here. I've got 1 egg, and I'm gonna add a couple teaspoons of half and half or milk. Then we'll just give that a whisk, and this will give it a nice golden color and kind of a glossy finish. Just take 1 crust here, take some of our filling, pop that right in the center, or a little off center actually, like that. Then we're gonna take our egg wash. I just use my finger and wipe it around this edge here. You need to have something to help seal it close, otherwise it will come open while it's baking. Then we just fold our circle over like that. And I kind of seal it down with my fingers. And then we'll use a fork to press down and really seal this together, and it makes sort of a decorative edge which looks really nice. And there's our little hand pie. Next, you want to be sure to cut a few slits in the top of the pie. If you don't, the steam will try to come out and this will pop open. So be sure to cut. I usually do just 3 slits, 1 down the center, 1 that way, 1 that way, and just use a kind of a sharp paring knife for that. And then we'll add some egg wash right on top. Okay, that one is done. So we'll set this aside and it's ready to cook. I will make up the rest of these. Now Now these cute little pies are ready to bake, and to bake them we have two options. I'm going to use an air fryer for half and then use the oven for the other half. So if you don't have an air fryer, don't worry, you can use the oven. If you do have an air fryer, it's so cool to use this for baking the apple hand pies. My goodness, it is pouring rain outside. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but these are going to be so good on a cold, rainy day, aren't they? All right, so first up, let's put some in the air fryer. We'll just do 2 at a time in this air fryer. It's a little bit small on the basket, so I'm going to just do 2 big ones in here. We'll just set those right inside the basket and then pop those in the air fryer. We're going to set the time to 12 minutes and the temperature to 350 degrees. And we'll start that. Now for the oven, I've got a parchment lined baking sheet here. Just going to set our hand pies on there. I've got the oven preheated to 400 degrees, and we're going to cook these in the oven for about 15 minutes. While those are cooking, I'm going to whip some cream here. I've got about a cup of heavy cream. Then we'll add a tablespoon or so of sugar, depending how sweet you like it. My kids like it sweet. Then we'll add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, the air fryer's done. Let's take a look at those. Oh my gosh, they're so nicely brown and golden. They look incredible. Okay, we'll just scoop those out with a spatula. Now we'll let these cool on a wire rack, and I'm going to grab the ones out of the oven. These look great as well, so either method will work. We're just going to pop these over to our wire rack and let them cool. I can't wait to try one of these. I'm going to dip it in some whipped cream here. Oh my gosh. This is incredible. So delicious, and I am going to double dip here. Pardon me. You've got to try these. Thanks so much for joining us on Marie's Kitchen. Today we made these easy apple hand pies that are absolutely delicious, and I can't wait for you to try them. If you like this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up. We so appreciate your likes, and it means a lot to YouTube as well, so hit that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment. Let us know if you're going to try these or if there's anything else you'd like to see. I'm always looking for ideas and inspiration. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. I've got lots more videos coming up with easy recipes just like this, and I don't want you to miss any of them. For this recipe and more, check out my website, marieseva.com. There you can go and print out this recipe and all my recipes, put them in a notebook, and make your very own Marie's Kitchen cookbook for free. My goal is to give you some really easy recipes that turn out great every time, so you can build some confidence in the kitchen and feel really inspired to share good food with people that you love. From my kitchen to yours, thank you.